I recently moved to this small town from a big city, and let me tell you, it's been quite an adjustment. As soon as I got out of my dad's car, I knew that my life was going to be very different in this new town. I had moved from Chicago to a small semi-rural town outside of Milwaukee. Just for context, I am a trans woman and had been feeling like I needed to get away from the city for a while. I wear my hair kind of long, but keep a cap on. I mostly wear some dark skater gear and have a lip ring on side. I am pretty low-key and keep conversations to a minimum. My parents wanted to live somewhere quieter and be able to start fresh after some altercations with the school I was attending. While I wanted to just let all of that blow over, I still have another year before I graduate. But overall, it's not that bad here, just different. I had been applying for jobs and finally got a call back from a local mom and pop pizza place. They were looking for a delivery driver and I thought it would be the perfect job to get started. On my first day, I was paired up with another driver, a guy named Dale who had lived in the town his whole life. Dale seemed nice enough at first, but as we made our rounds delivering pizzas, I realized that he had some pretty intolerant views about certain people. He made derogatory comments about LGBT people, immigrants, and people of color. I didn't say anything at first, but I knew that I couldn't keep working with someone like Dale for long. When Dale was out, I was paired up with a new driver named Mandy. Mandy was also new to the town, but she had a much more open-minded and welcoming attitude. I felt more comfortable with her, and we talked about their experiences growing up in different parts of the country. While working at the pizza place, I encountered more people who were not as welcoming as Mandy. Some customers would give me strange looks or make comments under their breath. I knew that I had to be careful and keep my guard up, but I refused to let anyone push me out of the job I had worked so hard to keep. One day, I was complaining about my dad's car. It was an old Camry we called Etsy. Mandy pointed to a red and black muscle car out the back of the building and off to the side. It looked like a lone wolf around other plainer cars. See that? Mandy beamed. I spent about 2 months to make enough to put a down payment on her. I call her Bandit. But she paused. Mandy's voice went low, even though we were the only 2 people around. I had to take the orders in the Badlands region to get the best tips, just on the outskirts of our driving distance. Is it that bad? I asked. Mandy narrowed her hazel eyes at me and pursed her lips into a hard line. Sometimes, to get what you want, you have to do what you don't want to do. I nodded in understanding. At least I thought I understood. If you want to try your luck out there, we get Badlands orders every few days, especially on weekends during spring break and summer months. Mandy's mood lightened slightly. She even smiled. I looked deep into her face and saw a young woman who had seen a lot more in her short life than she may have been ready for. As if on cue, we heard the front order clerk ask for a driver to the Badlands. Mandy shrugged her shoulders and looked over at me as we went back inside the pizza shop. Do you want to take this one? Sure, I said. Before I got too far inside, Mandy grabbed my right arm and forced something cold and smooth in my hand. She balled my hand into a fist and turned to pick up another order. I only had a chance to glance down and put whatever it was into my back pocket. As I was driving down the dirt road some 20 minutes later, I saw that it led to the outskirts of a small rural area where there were more stop signs than stoplights. I almost expected a horse crossing sign, which wouldn't really be out of place. The area was dark, depressing, remote, and scary. I had never been to this part of town before, and I was starting to feel uneasy. My mind raced with thoughts of what could happen to me out here in the middle of nowhere. But to listen to Mandy tell the story, the tips were like gold out here. As I approached the house, I saw an old lady standing on the front porch. She was dressed in a long, fatted sundress and had a scarf wrapped tightly around her head. The hair was pulled back and put in a tight bun. The woman didn't say much, but her eyes shifted nervously as she accepted the pizza from me. As I turned to leave, the old lady suddenly grabbed my arm. I could feel her grip tighten, and I could sense the danger that lurked behind her. While I was watching the old lady, I didn't notice the 2 figures lurking in the shadows behind the old lady. I couldn't make out who they were, but I sure could feel their eyes on me. I knew that something wasn't right, but I tried to stay calm and professional, ready to nope the hell out. Well, the first guy said He was what a failed high school quarterback that moved back home with his mom after 20 years looked like. His gut formed a round ball, pushing his shirt up some, exposing the gross hair sticking out. It only then dawned on me then that his belt buckle was open. We got something brand new out here, huh? When I say he was grinning like the village idiot, I don't mean that he had no idea of what he was planning. He had plans, and I think he may have carried them out a time or two. The second guy looked just as old and didn't say anything, but was faster than I thought. He was next to the old lady, pushing her to the side and making sure she held on to her pizza. The second guy, probably a brother, had a grip like a steel trap. He hurled me back, deeper into the house, and I fell into the arms of the first guy. Look now, you don't have to be all squirrely up here. The first guy sniffed the air like he was offended and put off by me being there. We got arrangements with the shop, while the football guy smirked down at me. Well, they have got to pay up. It's just that way. Round here. The second guy looked at the old woman. Hey, Court, he nodded at the woman. I'll put old Gran to bed. Wait? Okay. Oh, I'll wait, Court said, but hurry back, Slim. Court held me fast as I was trying to stomp, kick, and yell my way out of his grip. I thought he had been working out in a backyard gym. The guy's grip was just that tight as Slim. When he got bored of me flailing around, he spun me around and looked down at me with cold, gray eyes. Don't make me snap you here. Court's growl was low and clear. Don't. The last word struck out at me like a shot in the dark. That's when I remembered what Mandy gave me. I leaned forward towards him, giving myself room for him to embrace me. When he leaned closer, I snaked my hand in my pocket and gave him a quick jab in his gut from what I figured was Mandy's penknife. Court's eyes widened, just for a second, but it was all that I needed to make my move. The old lady's eyes went wide and started to tear up when she saw me rocketing her way. By the time she was steady, I had bounced down the stairs from the porch and was making a beeline to my dad's car. I patted my pockets and put the penknife in my pocket. I didn't bother to turn around, but when I slid in the car, I saw the second, faster guy had just made it halfway to the car. As I ran, I could hear the two figures chasing me down. I could hear their footsteps pounding the steps of the porch and then the dirt, and I could feel their hot breath in my imagination. I knew that I had to keep moving if I wanted to stay alive. I prayed that today was not the day that Betsy would stall. The car lurched forward, spinning up dirt and rocks as it rocketed down the dirt road. I could hear the two figures chasing me, but I refused to look back. I knew that if I did, I would lose my focus and crash in some hidden ditch. The car was bouncing and jolting over the rough terrain, and I could feel my body being thrown around in the seat. I gritted my teeth and held on tight, determined to make it out alive. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, I saw the lights of a pizza place in the distance. I breathed a sigh of relief and pressed the gas pedal even harder. Betsy roared into the parking lot, and I jumped out, running for the safety of the building. I told the staff about the old lady and the two figures who had tried to ambush me. The manager called the police, and they arrived on the scene quickly. I gave them a description of the old lady and the two figures, and they were able to track them down. I don't know if they were arrested. As I sat in the safety of a pizza place, I couldn't help but think about how lucky I was to be alive. I knew that I had been in a dangerous situation, but I had managed to get away. I began to wonder if Mandy ever had that experience, or if she had gotten away as she had been. From that day on, I was more aware of the dangers that lurked in the shadows. I knew that I'd have to be careful, but I refused to let fear control my life. And yes, I still have that penknife.